I'm recording with everybody. All right.
I think we're all good to go. Right. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Actually, I think we're going to start the meeting, but just some quick housekeeping, just for all of you to be aware that this meeting is going to be recorded and will be published on New York City Emergency Management's website. If you are interested in actually taking a look at the prior meetings, all those can also be found on New York City Emergency Management's website. In case of an emergency, we have two exits. We have an exit that is immediately out the door to the left, and the other exit is the main entrance that you had come in initially. Also, if you do happen to need to use the restroom, it's immediately outside the door to the left, behind the orange wall with the pictures. That's pretty much it for housekeeping. I'd like to now pass it on to DEP. Harry.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Harry Meyer. I'm the Director for the Division of Emergency Response and Technical Assessment. The first thing I'd like to do is introduce our new Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Ari Mas. He is now in charge of the Lepc as chair, along with, of course, the secretaries of the Lepc being OEM. So I want to welcome him and welcome him aboard, and I also want to thank Deputy Commissioner Cosgrove, who served as the chair for many years. So I just want to acknowledge his work. So with that said, I want to introduce Deputy Commissioner Mas.
Thank you. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Happy to be here. I first want to thank OEM for hosting the meeting and acting as the secretary of the LEPC, so thank you. Just give a brief summary. Under the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, local emergency planning committee LEPCs must develop an emergency response plan, review the plan at least annually, and provide information about the chemicals in the community to its citizens. Plans are developed by the LEPCs with stakeholder participation. The LEPC membership includes, at a minimum, elected state and local officials, police, fire, civil defense, and public health professionals, environmental, transportation, and hospital officials, facility representatives, and representatives from community groups. What procedures both on and off site for such substances, the designation of facilities and community coordinators to implement the plan, having comprehensive emergency notification procedures, establishing a method to determine the probable affected area and population in the event of a hazardous substance release, establishing a comprehensive list of equipment, personnel, and facilities that are available to respond during such a release, establishing an evacuation plan, developing training programs for personnel who will be responsible for implementing the plan, running drills, exercise the plan, tabletop or boots on the ground drills. In New York City, the Community Right to Know law is Local Law 26 of 1988. It requires the city to effectively regulate the storage, use, and handling of hazardous substances within the 5 boroughs. The Department of Environmental Protection's Division of Emergency Response and Technical Assessment under the Bureau of Police and Security is entrusted with this responsibility. The division, through its Right to Know program, manages the reporting and storage of hazardous substances by requiring facilities to report annually on their chemicals. The report, which is referred to as a Tier 2, details the quantity, location, and chemical nature of every hazardous substance stored, used, and handled within each filing facility. To date, there are over 11,000 such facilities reporting to the department. The filing deadline is March 1st of every year. Tier 2 filing is done online for annual submissions, revisions, or updates. Very few facilities still opt to do hard copy filings. It's under 10%. Everything else is online. The information within the Tier 2 filing is carefully reviewed by personnel for accuracy and completeness. When issues are identified, the facility is contacted to make corrections. This is known as the technical review process. As a follow-up to technical reviews, division personnel conduct physical inspections of the facilities to confirm that the document submission matches with what the facility is actually using, storing, and handling. On only a few occasions do the inspectors identify inaccuracies, which, once identified, requires the facility submit a revision to their submission. For facilities using materials above the threshold reporting quantities, risk management plans need to be developed. Out of the 11,000 facilities reporting, only a little over 300 facilities fall into this category. Under the right to know law requirements, facilities that store and or use extremely hazardous substances, or regulated toxic substances that are at or above the threshold plan and quantity as listed in the chemical tables of the law are required to prepare and submit a risk management plan to the department for review, comment, and approval. After an inspection, the facility is conducted without any deficiencies identified. The purpose of the plan is to protect the surrounding community, workers, and emergency responders from the dangers associated with hazardous substances, extremely hazardous substances, and regulated toxic substances by mitigating the harm posed by the release of such material. In general, a risk management plan includes a risk assessment analysis, a risk reduction analysis, and emergency response plan. An annual report is published yearly and presents a detailed overview of the past year's reporting information. The annual report is available on the DEP's website. I'll turn it over to Harry from here.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, with that, let me go back to OEM so that, we discuss last year's minutes.
Thank you very much, Harry. The 2023 LEPC meeting started with general introductions, after which the 2022 LEPC meeting minutes were read. After reading the minutes, DEP reviewed said minutes of the Hazardous Substance Advisory Board meeting before moving on to the Tier 2 metrics for that year, which were reported as follows. As of June 30th, 2023, Right to Know program received 11,077 Tier 2 submissions. Out of these 11,077 submissions, 247 new facilities were added to the database and submitted a 2022 Tier 2 report. A total of 10,790 facilities submitted online and 287 facilities submitted hard copies. That is a 97.4 submitted online and 2.6 submitted hard copy reports. For the risk management plans, the Right to Know program currently had 389 risk management plan reports on file, and one additional facility is required to submit a RMP report. The Right to Know program received 35 updates to existing risk management plans and 150 affidavit letters indicating that there were no changes on their existing RMP reports. There are 7 risk management plans under review and 2 facilities that have been inspected. For the inspections during the 2023 fiscal year, the Right to Know program inspection unit performed a total of 3,824 inspections. Out of these, 83 facilities were exempt from filing, 315 facilities were went out of business, and 1,063 facilities were closed and no access granted. 153 facilities were issued notice of violation for non-compliance and regulations. DEP reported out that they were in the process of hiring and to discuss the review of Tier 2 reports and the training of new hires as well as inspections. DEP provided emergency response numbers and outlined various special deployments. It also discussed lithium-ion batteries, new protocol development, and the registration of an on-call contract. At the end of the meeting, final questions were taken. This was a broad summary or overview of the transcript of last year's LEPC meeting. As mentioned earlier, the full video of that meeting as well as the associated transcript can be found online on New York City Emergency Management's website. Thank you very much. Pass it back to you.
Thank you, sir. All right, as has been customary in the past, the Hazardous Substance Advisory Board meeting as well as the LEPC merge when we come to the third meeting of the year. So at this point, the Hazardous Substance Advisory Board meeting will start as part of the LEPC, and we will start with the reading of the last meeting minutes that took place on March 13th, 2024. So I'll allow that, Joanne, to
Good morning, everyone. I'll read the minutes from the last meeting we had on March 13th, as Dr. Harvey said. In attendance was Chief Frank Malazzo from DEP, Harry Meyer, myself, Noreen Gallard, all from DEP. From Fire Department, we have Captain Vincent Sabrino, and Jackie Chang from Sanitation, and Jennifer Roden from Department of Health and Attendance. Dr. Meyer opened the meeting by welcoming the participants to the meeting and thanked them for attending. He then introduced the attendees of the meeting and asked for a motion to adopt adopt the minutes from the last meeting as they were written. Since there were no objections, they were adopted. Dr. Meyer then announced that Mr. Safa Yakub, who has been a long-time employee of the Durham staff, has retired. We thank her for her many years of dedicated service to DEP. Dr. Meyer provided an update on the REK staffing. He explained that because of the division, the bureau, and the agency's hard work, DERTA was able to acquire some new personnel, which will help strengthen the division's inspection and technical review numbers and help DERTA reach its goals moving forward. In regards to the 2023 submission metrics was then read by myself, Ms. Joanne Nurse. She stated that as of March 11th, 2024, the Right to Know program received 10,334 submissions. Of these submissions, 10,159 reports were submitted online and 175 facilities submitted a hard copy report. 174 new facilities were added to the database. Deputy Director Nurse stated that the Right to Know inspection unit has performed 3,029 inspections during the fiscal 2024 year. Of these, fiscal 2023 year. Of the 772 were closed to no access was given. 5 facilities were exempt for filing, 162 facilities were out of business, and 178 were issued notices of violations for not complying with the Right to Know law and regulation. Mrs. Nurse explained that the division is still in the process of logging RMP documents that were received and therefore do not have an accurate number of the RMPs or affidavits that were received this year. In regards to emergency response, Dr. Meyer went over the numbers of jobs that the division has received and explained that to date, the division has received 2,014 response jobs, which is comparable to last fiscal year. According to the current numbers, Director Meyer estimated that the division will receive close to 3,000 jobs by June. He also explained that the increase in the number of jobs can be attributed to the number of lithium-ion battery jobs that the division has been receiving. Dr. Meyer then explained that there is now a lithium-ion task force that will hopefully be able to stabilize the number of lithium-ion battery fires in the future. He went over the upcoming deployments that the division will be participating in, which are St. Patrick's Parade, United Airlines Half Marathon, and the Mets and Yankees home openers. In conclusion, Dr. Meyer asked if anyone had any questions or comments. Chief Malazzo remarked that he is grateful for the agencies that participate and partner with DEP as we move forward and do what is best for the residents of New York City. Dr. Meyer also thanked the participants and stated that the proposed Hazardous Substance Advisory Board next meeting date is June 11th, which will be combined with the LEPC meeting. That's the end of the minutes from our last meeting.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, so just to follow up on a couple of pieces. Under Right to Know, it was said that we were going to be hiring personnel, which we did. At the beginning of this year, in fact, we did hire several new inspectors and they were trained. And now they're doing inspections and technical review. And that has actually increased our review numbers in a positive way, which I'm very pleased to report. That actually is something that needs to be added to these. Before we start, I just want to just bring that because that's very important. As many of you use or have access to the Tier 2 database, you know that Tier 2 basically is the foundation where we do audits, responses. If someone goes out to a facility that's, there's an issue with, you want to have accurate data. Tier 2 is the place to look for. So naturally, reviewing the documents accurately, quickly, and of course, having them accessible to you is our key role. Not only do they protect the responders, but they're also protecting everyone else in the city because accurate data is what we're aiming for. And with close to 11,000 facilities, it's actually quite a tedious process, to say the least. But we are going through it, and I mean, I can tell you right now that you are hearing numbers from last year, but when we did a analysis for the past 6 months, just for calendar year 2024, our numbers are close to double what they were last year. So definitely this additional personnel has panned out and made us productive the way we're seeking. And hopefully by this year, we will definitely reach a better goal, you know, closer to what we wanted and used to have years ago before these, you know, personnel reductions took place all over the city and all over the other agencies. So I just wanted to add that for that. At this point, I'm gonna hand it back to Joanne, and we're going to go through the 2023 metrics. So, I know there's a lot of numbers, and bear with us, you know, it's lots of numbers, and when I get to my part, you're really gonna see numbers. So, I'll leave it to Joanne at this point.
Okay, so this is the metrics for the 2024 J2 submission year. As of June 2024, Right to Know received 10,972 J2 submissions. Out of these 10,972, 361 new facilities were added to the database. A total of 10,734 facilities submitted online and 338 facilities submitted hard copies reports. That gives us a 98 percentile on online filers, which is really good. In terms of risk management plans, we currently has 392 plans on file, and an additional 2 facilities are required to submit RFPs for this year. The Right to Know program received 46 updates to the existing risk management plan and 129 affidavit letters indicating that there was no change on their existing plans. There are 4 risk management plan reports under review and 2 facilities reported exemption as of date. 2 facilities have been inspected. In regards to our inspection unit, the unit performed a total of 5,401 inspections thus far during the 2024 fiscal year. Of these, 43 facilities are exempt from filing, 242 facilities run out of business, and 155 facilities were closed or no access was granted. So far, 276 facilities were issued notices of violations for non-compliance with the Right to Know regulations.
Thank you, Joanne. So, now to the fun stuff, right? Emergency response. Okay. You know, year over year, I always make these comparisons, and I usually break things up by ranking the types of jobs that we deal with. And for the most part, year over year, the categories are the same. I mean, during these past 2 years, of course, the addition of lithium-ion battery fires has been a significant portion. It comes up to the top 5, one of the top 5 response categories. So I'm not gonna bore you with numbers, because if I do, I know you'll fall asleep and it's too early. So what I'm going to do is just break it down this way. I'm going to just say that by category, year over year, the pattern is about the same. First category are chemical odors, followed by petroleum spills, followed by chemical spills, followed by abandoned chemicals. And at this point, there is a tie between natural gas leaks and lithium-ion battery fires. And actually, it was so close, when I say it was a tie, at the time this data was run, it was 192 versus 199. But during the past 2 days, another 4 jobs just came in. So you can see that lithium-ion jobs are coming in faster than anything else. So that's definitely something of interest, and I wanted to just bring up something to your attention. When we look at these jobs, and you know, the rest are nothing: indoor air, asbestos, building collapses, PCB, indoor air, normal, but very low. But the top 5 categories are the ones that I'm interested in, but more particularly is the lithium ion. I mean, if we look at last year alone, there were 385 response jobs just for lithium-ion batteries. In our case, that is about 15% of our workload, just for lithium-ion batteries. So 385. At one point, the city was obligated to not only handle these on its own, it was 100% the city's responsibility to handle and dispose. When you look at it from that perspective, you can see that financially, it's a significant burden. Just to give you an idea, for the jobs the city handled alone last year, with a contract in place that was mentioned from last year's LAPC meeting, we spent close to $500,000 to do this. Now let me just explain why this is important, why the difference between us handling how much we're spending, the number of jobs, and what actually happened during the past 2 years. There was, as all of you are aware, the fire department is the primary response agency who handles, mitigates, controls, extinguishes these, fires. In the past, the fire department was obligated to, or the city, if you want to call it the city, was obligated to do the full disposal, irrelevant of what was going on. About 1.5 years ago, the fire department, OEM, and ourselves entered into an agreement, a protocol, where whenever there was a response, we worked together and tried to implement a mechanism where responsible parties would be identified. Once that happened, the local law, there's a specific local law that we tap into. It's known as Local Law 42, or the Spill Bill, the New York City Emergency Response Law. All right, that's the key. This is something that DEP has. By working together, FD, OEM and us, came up with the procedure where once we identify a responsible party, we issue something called a commissioner's order. What that is, and I'm tempted to read you the law, and I'm afraid to because I know it's early for it, but I have to. Let me explain it this way. The law says, I'm afraid to because I know it's early for it, but I have to. Let me explain it this way. The law says, under Chapter 6, Section 24608A, for anyone who's interested, when the Commissioner of DEP has reason to believe that there has been a release or there exists a substantial threat of release into the environment of a hazardous substance which may present an immediate and substantial danger to the public health or welfare or the environment, the Commissioner may, at his or her discretion, order any or all responsible persons to implement any response measures or to cooperate and assist the Commissioner in implementing any response measures deemed to be necessary to protect the public health or welfare of the environment, or if the Commissioner, in the exercise of his or her discretion, concludes that seeking and implementing any such measures by a responsible person may be detrimental to public health or welfare or the environment due to the likelihood of delay or ineffectiveness of such on behalf of the responsible party, that the Commissioner may implement such response measures on their behalf. A lot of words, and simply put, it means plan as written. The fire department responds to the fire. They extinguish it. They stabilize the battery. They pack it basically in media to make it stable. DEP comes in, we You know, if there's a responsible party, mind you, we issue this order to the responsible party to mitigate and absorb all costs to remediate the situation. Naturally, that's a big deal, because I just quoted you a number from last year of $500,000. That's with the implementation of commissioner's orders. If there was no commissioner order, you could add another third to this cost. So you are going to go from $500,000 to at least $675,000 to $700,000, just for battery fires. This protocol that was developed has been so successful that almost a third of these jobs have been absorbed through the oversight of FD, OEM, and us, and being mitigated by the responsible people causing this. I know there are many jobs where there is no responsible party. A bike blows up. You know, it happens. Scooters catch on fire. It happens. There's no responsible party. But there are cases where there are responsible parties. Now, one thing that has come up recently, and this is where the fire department and DEP in particular join forces, bike shops. Now, bike shops are very interesting. Sometimes, many a time, they like to have batteries that, well, they're not certified. They're not underwriter laboratory listed. They're basically someone in their basement taking parts, putting them together, and selling them for a cheap price. How many of these have happened? We all know the terrible story that happened on Madison Street. We all remember that one, where there were fatalities. There's more than just that one case. Many of these bike shops do their own work. Without authorization, they just do it, profit comes first. The fire department, police department, ourselves, well, that's a problem we faced. And it's not your one bike or two bikes, you're talking, some cases, drums of batteries. And when I say drums, 55-gallon size drums with hundreds of batteries and cells. Not one or two, enough to take a building down if they all go up together. The fire department actually, with us, went back and forth, and this is where the lawyers came in and had to come up with a mechanism. Because he said, local law 42/87, it was written in 1987. Well, lithium-ion batteries never existed. However, the wording of a threat or potential threat is an open-ended statement. Lithium-ion batteries can produce a threat or a potential threat, so the law applies. But how do you apply the fire code to a DEP code? That was an interesting and difficult bridge that had to be built, because the fire code is unique in its own way, has specifics. DEP's law is unique and has its specifics. Well, there was a mechanism built, and to that, I thank all the parties involved. In July, actually specifically on July 13th of 2023, a protocol was developed, and this of course is for our partners at FD Hazmat, the fire inspectors, fire prevention, fire department in general, and us, where the fire code, specifically under a section called 309.3.2, allows the fire department to conduct inspections and declare something as being hazardous. Guess what? Our law is the hazardous substance law. That was the bridge. That one word, hazardous, the key to having these two work together. And I will read the verbiage, because this took not days, took months actually to come up. And it's simple And that's the uniqueness of this. It's simple and to the point, and it works, and it sticks, and it's helping the public and the environment from these, avoiding and averting these dangers from happening. When the fire department responds, and they inspect, and they find something that they deem hazardous, they actually use code FC 309.3.2, and it says in their violation, it lists the number of batteries or modules, depending, because it could be pieces or cells, and then there's an observation. Why is it hazardous? Could be fire damage, could be water exposure, could be thermal runaway or overheating, or more important, non-factory modification. Guess what? So, you had this great idea of making your own batteries. Well, that's a non-factory modification. And of course, observable physical damage, whatever that means. Could be burnt, cracked, etc. But non-factory modification is the critical one. Once that order is issued, then we actually are able to issue a commissioner's order. And that forces the responsible party to secure the material, hire a licensed hazardous materials contractor, and dispose of the material according to all applicable law. That one thing that was done since last July has made a significant impact on what was going on here. Now, to add to this, recently another law was passed, which is called Local Law 39. Now, Local Law 39 took effect on September 16th of 2023, after our agreements in July. And it technically reads, it prohibits the sale, lease, rental, or distribution of powered micro-mobility devices, like e-bikes and scooters, unless the electrical system and batteries have been certified by an accredited testing laboratory for compliance. Well, guess what? Between the Fire Code 309.3.2, between our Commissioner's order, according to Local Law 42, and now under Local Law 39, you are now closing the box around all these players who have been manufacturing batteries on their own that are unstable and causing a lot of these problems that we deal with every day. Last year I sat here and I said to you, we're facing a significant and sometimes considered insurmountable problem. But a year later, that insurmountable is no longer insurmountable, and now there's a mechanism to address it. So that's what I want to bring to your attention, that there's been a lot of hard work by many dedicated people to address this significant issue that has not only caused, damage to property, but has also cost the lives of many innocent people. So at this point, city, and we are most probably the most, I would say New York City is the one with the most advanced, most dedicated group of people who are going after these illegal and improper devices that are causing damage and death. And that is something that everyone around this table should be pleased to hear, because years ago, all we were hearing, or all I was talking about, was how many fires we had. Now that's not the issue. Now we have mechanisms to try to mitigate this. I mean, there is a committee that we sit on. There are several agencies that sit on this committee. And there are all kinds of proposals and legislative mechanisms in place to do trade-ins for batteries, purchasing, buybacks. But these are all mechanisms that are programs, things taking place but these take a while to implement. I mean, there are a lot more batteries out there that fall under the category of not being UL or laboratory accredited. So that'll take years for that process to complete itself. But in the interim, those who are on the ground, the boots on the ground, now have a mechanism to fight this. And I have even witnessed bike shop owners being arrested, which is something they deserve. And I can say it in the sense that once you're warned, you should stop. But some of these people get warned and they do it, go back right to the same way, do it again, with no concern. So the fire department, I have seen, they have taken that step and have implemented arrests. And that is something that is a credit to the fire department. Because sometimes these people only put profit first. Life is irrelevant to them. So that is something that we must acknowledge the dedication of FD and the partners that are doing this. So that is something I wanted to talk about. I mean, this comes under the category of noteworthy emergency responses and special deployments. Well, this is a noteworthy, not only response, a noteworthy protocol, procedure, and something that reflects on the dedication of all these people. So that's what I wanted to present this year. And I'm very proud and honored that we're able to make the statement on behalf of these agencies that this is happening now. It's not we're here to put fires out or dispose of fires. They do the hard work of putting them out. I do the work of getting rid of them. But that was not the answer. The answer is we're trying to avoid that from even beginning. And it's happening now. So with that, that's the 2024 noteworthy emergency response, summary. The fun stuff is special deployments. Well, we always have those deployments. And last time where I spoke, we stopped at the Met and the Yankee openers, but after that, we did have a 5-borough bike tour. We did the Roadrunner Brooklyn Half Marathon. We did the Israeli parade, which was definitely under some of the highest security I've seen. The Puerto Rican Day Parade, we did that. And in a week or so, we're going to do the Pride Parade and then July 4th. So that's some of the fun stuff. And that I wanted to bring up. So with that said, I think my part is done. And I thank you all for allowing me to present today. So, and I'll go back to William.
Thank you very much, Harry. I think that concludes the agenda, so I don't know if there are any parting words that DEP would like to.
Thank you, everybody. Good work was done this year. I thank Commissioner Cosgrove for his dedication, and I thank the team here at DEP and everybody else for everything you bring to the table.
Thank you very much, everyone, and hope to see you next year.
No, we didn't.
I'm sure you received emails from me, the Director of Legal Affairs and the Agency Privacy Officer for New York City Emergency Management. I also serve as the Secretary for the Lepc. Try to help organize and get this meeting set up each year. It's nice to meet all of you. Thank you again for coming.
Ari Moss, I'm the newly appointed Deputy Commissioner for Police and Security at DEP, and I come here by way of the NYPD.
I'm Harry Meyer, and I'm the Director for the Division of Emergency Response and Technical Assessment for DEP.
My name is Joanne Nurse, and I'm the Deputy Director for Emergency Response and Technical Assessment at DEP.
Hi, my name is Matt Quigley. I'm an Executive Agency Counsel at the Legal Division of Office of Labor Relations.
I'm Petty Officer Madison Burley, representing the Coast Guard Emergency Management Operations Planning Department.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Fabienne Valsi. I'm an agency attorney here at NISA.
Rich Mesick with National Grid, liaison to New York City agencies.
I'm Shu. I'm a critical infrastructure program manager here at NISA.
is Tanvi Islam. I work at New York State DOT as the emergency manager for the New York City area.
Moha Ray, General Counsel, Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment.
Hi, Dory Reddy, New York City DOT, Director of Environmental Compliance.
John Carlton, Regional Coordinator for New York State Dishes.
Judith Peter, Deputy Emergency Manager, New York City Region, New York State DOT.
Rick Lay, I'm with New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Spill Response. I'm a project manager. I want to say that Matthew Austin, who was our chief of our section, retired after 45 years of service. So I'm here as representative.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Vincent Serino. I'm the Executive Officer for FDNY Hazmat Operations, and I've been the liaison to the LEPC for the past 20 years.
Hey, I'm Shauna Hopp, EPA Region 2. I'm the Response Section Supervisor there and the RT2 alternate co-chair.
Good morning, my name is Keith Glenn. I'm also with US EPA Region 2 based in Edison, New Jersey, and I'm an on-scene coordinator and emergency responder.
Good morning, everyone. Rafael Dominguez. I work with Ms. Peter and Tanvir for New York State DOT. I'm one of the Deputy Regional Emergency Managers and the Special Incident Coordinator for the Traffic Management Center.
Good morning. My name is Sanjay Orjas. I'm the Chief Counsel at New York City Emergency Management.
Hi, everyone. Elijah Muhammad, the Content Specialist here at NISM.
Mike Etzel, field staff, New York State Issues OEM.
Christine Lai, Senior Agency Counsel, New York City Aging.
Shrita Hunter, I'm Assistant Commissioner for the Office of Emergency Response at New York City DOT.
Very nice to meet all of you, and thank you very much for coming. If anyone wants to stay around and chat for a little bit, we have the room for a little bit more time.